Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora Stefrak and here I am to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of October 25th, 2021. This is a timeless reading, so if you're seeing this at any time after this date, after this week, don't worry about it because that means that you're a vibratory match for whatever messages are coming through. So if you've been asking for a sign from the universe, if you've been wondering where the hell to go next or what to do, you stumbled on this video on purpose, on divine purpose, and it is here to guide you through this next journey. Okay, so just keep your ears open, keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and be ready to receive this information because it's pretty dark, it's pretty dense. There's a lot going on right now energetically in the collective, and so that means that if you are at this video, this means you're aware of the energy that is in your field right now, okay? And that means that you're given an opportunity to be able to go deeper within, to go deeper into your own mind, body, spirit, into your own journey, into your own path, into what it is to be you, and so on and so forth on a spiritual way, right? And so being able to learn and remember who you are, right? Because as a child, we're our most authentic self because we don't have any other thing to be other than ourselves. And then as we go through the years, we get programmed into, you know, doing different things for different reasons and having ulterior motives and manipulating energy and doing things because of this, because if you don't get that, then it means this and whatever. We live from these wounded places, right? So I'm talking about all this already because I'm already getting into the energy because I can't help it because it just kind of spews out of me, right? So let me ground in, let me say welcome. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and get all in with the Translucent Truth Yoga community that I'm bringing together. Eventually, it's coming. I'm calling my people in. Okay, so I'm just gonna play these bowls for a quick second and kind of ground in the energy, and I'm just gonna get at it because, like, honestly, there's a lot of information here. Okay. Time was just 4:04, guys. That means reset. All right, so perfect, so divine. Okay. So the first message that I'm being guided to bring up for this week, guys, is that Halloween is coming, and this represents the veil being thin, right? And, well, doesn't represent, I mean, it does, but that's why, like, I don't know if you guys really know much about Halloween and the whole symbology of it and what's behind it, but basically, Halloween is when we have a thin veil between the physical world and the spiritual world, right? And that's why, you know, we have all these, like, you know, mysterious and gory, and, like, we go into, like, the you know, like, death and, like, kind of like the shadow side of life, if you will, and, like, spirit and magic and, you know, accessing all these different parts of our reality that like on a regular basis we don't really acknowledge, right? So it's really interesting. It's like honoring our magic, our sacredness, but it's also at the point in the astrological cycle where the veil is really thin, and we're in Scorpio, which I'm not going to get to that yet because I just want to talk about Halloween for a second and what it represents, right? And so as we're getting closer and closer and closer to Halloween, the veil is thinning and thinning and thinning and thinning. And not only that, we're transitioning from summer into winter. And so we're in the fall right now. And so with that energy kind of representing and mirroring our emotions, which I'm going to get into later as well. But yeah, so like kind of realizing where we are at in our cycle, in the sense of like the calendar year and the season, and I guess where you're at on the planet, because depending on where you are depends on the weather, right? And so like really understanding how that external environment is reflecting, or is kind of not so much reflecting, but like resonating, like vibrating on the same frequency. Like for example, like today it's raining, and like the weather just makes me feel like nice and warm and cozy and inside, and like I want to get a lot of work done inside because outside's like cold and gross, and I don't want to be out there, and I want to be in the warmth. I want to be in my bed, and I want to be like working on stuff, right? So it's like just like as if it was a sunny day today, and I might have wanted to go to the beach to record this, right? Like that kind of thing, right? And just kind of realizing like how the environment, your external environment, really influences like your emotional connection to yourself, really, right? Okay, so Halloween, though, I didn't really get to the point. I guess I really did, because all I really want you guys to understand is that during Halloween, the veil's thinning, okay? And so that just means we have more access to the spirit world, and the spirit world has more access to us. So that means we could have more like supernatural or like paranormal things happening, where maybe you're like realizing things are moving around your house. Maybe you're having dreams of past loved ones that you have over in the other side. And I'm going to tell you now, like, I am my world. Like, I have my friends and my sister actually, and you know, people that I know that have lost people, they've been dreaming about their people, and they're communicating with them, and this is really them showing up in your dream. Like, yes, this is your subconscious clearing and coming more to terms with the pain and with the grief and with the suffering and with the loss, which is going to allow for you to come from a more full place, because it's like this dream that you're having is kind of going to be reclaiming an aspect of you that you feel that you lost when they left, okay? So this is what the dream will represent, like on a collective level, on a healing level, on like this subconscious clearing level, is that your loved ones are going to be visiting you, they're going to be communicating with you, you're going to be seeing a lot of signs from them, and just know that like that it really is them, and that they are there and they always are with you, but they're wanting you to really know it now. And so there's also this cycle of healing coming with this, and it's that you'll probably be dreaming about them too. You know, for whoever needs to have that like real visceral experience of being with them again, you can actually experience that in your dream, and a lot of people are accessing this beautiful space. And it freaks a lot of people out, but I hope that, you know, you're guided to this video so that you can understand like what's really going on, and that they're contacting you, and they're saying that they're always with you, and that they're safe. That's another thing, actually, another one of the messages that kept coming through for my friend and my sister and a couple others that have been having these dreams, is that I lost my train of thought. Sorry guys, one sec. Oh, they're safe now. Yeah, they're where they need to be. Like the guilt and the shame and the I could have done more, or you know, like whatever kind of like shadow aspect of yourself with them that you have is kind of like, I'm seeing like the phoenix burning and rising from the ashes, right? So it's going to be a lot of that kind of energy of like really rising from the ashes, and really like reclaiming yourself and reclaiming these aspects of yourself where you know, you may have felt like such deep grief and such loss in a cognitive dissonance where you actually were too much in shock to really understand what's going on, and now you're in a place to deal with like the reality of the situation. And so they're going to be coming in and they're going to be supporting you, because now they're your guides, right? They're your guides on the spiritual side. And so that's the beautiful thing about it. It was just 10:10 on the clock here, so, or on the video. And so like really understanding that, like, as these energies are coming through, like, you're hearing things, you're seeing things, like, this is really you, and this really is them, and you're not crazy, and like, this is how your spiritual awakening, they could be your spiritual awakening, right? Of what it really means. What is life? What is death? What is energy? What is vibration? What is consciousness? What is healing? What is growth? What is all of these things that everyone's talking about? And having some questions and really questioning reality and your ego. And so it's a whole dissolution really that's going to be happening. And this is already getting into the Scorpio energy. So it's so beautiful, because Scorpio is all about death as well. Death and rebirth, right? And it's mysterious, and it's like kind of like the darker side of the, well, I guess the shadow, right? The shadow self, right? So really, I guess I'll just close that off there with just saying that if you're having dreams of past loved ones, that they are like, they're coming to communicate to you, they're coming to say hello, they're coming to say like, you know, I never left, and that I'm still here, and I'm exactly where I need to be, and they want to guide you on your path. And so just keep listening to that voice that is like, you know, when you see a penny or a feather or you know, 11:11 on the clock, or whatever your number is, or whatever your sign is with them, really keep your awareness kind of dialed in to be more open to receiving these messages right now, because the veil's thin. And it's only going to keep thinning. And then there's also a veil that kind of opens up, or like a portal around Christmas time as well. But we won't get into that right now, because we're just right here. So, okay, so that's all it wants to come through for that. I want to get right into the Scorpio energy, because it's going to be pretty intense energy. It's pretty dark. But like, that doesn't mean bad. It just means clarity is going to be coming from whatever it is that we're kind of unraveling right now at this time. And like, I'm burning a lot of sage right now, I guess, because I'm just feeling all the energies. And so like, my intention with this video and this energy update is that whoever watches this and whoever comes in contact with it from here on out actually gets cleared energetically and gets activated emotionally and mentally and spiritually, all of it. Because it's a reset. And actually I saw 404 at the beginning of the video too, right? So more confirmation. So that this is a reset. This week will be a reset. There's a lot of feminine energy that we're working with this week. And last week we worked a lot with the masculine energy, as much as it was like a, whatever your weaker energy is what is gonna kind of be rearing its head. But you know, now I'm just gonna focus on like what I can handle, because I can't explain every single perspective. So last week was the masculine, this week's the feminine here in like this collective. Like, if you've been showing up into this energy and really been working through your stuff, then we're really focused on the masculine last week, and this week we're focusing more on the feminine. And what I mean by that is our emotions and our emotional state. Okay, and like clearing our energy. Drinking our water. Like, oh my god, what are you guys doing to me? I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, and I called my friend Glenda. She lives in Australia, so it's awesome. So like, if I can't sleep or something, like, she's the first one I call, just because like she's always up, because it's her daytime, right? So it's just so funny. Like, I've just been up and at her and ready, and like, I was like, oh, I might as well straighten my hair today and like maybe like look normal like a human being. And then I was having fun with my mom, because I was like, oh my god, Mom, I look like Aurora, like the actual Aurora, like the OG, like what she always used to look like. I don't have makeup on, but I was this close to putting mascara and stuff on, because I like it, it's pretty, but it hurts my eyes. So I decided against that. It wasn't worth the pain. No pain, no gain. That's what I used to think, but not anymore. All right. So Scorpio season is from October 23rd to November 21st, 22nd, depending on where you're at. Okay. Scorpio energy. Where do I want to go with this? I have a lot of notes today, guys. But they're all kind of overlapping. Okay, so Scorpio season, I'm going to just channel a little bit of the Scorpio without looking at that because it gets too confusing for me. Okay, so basically Scorpio energy is our shadow energy. It's like digging into our psyche. It's the parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at, but we need to look at in order to evolve past that limitation. It's about limiting beliefs, ruled by the genitalia. So sexual healing or sexual alchemy or sexual wounds, these things might be coming up. It's all about death and rebirth, as I said. We just came out of Libra, which is balancing the scales, and then Scorpio represents getting more intimate in those relationships. So say last month you were getting rid of a job or a partner or moving house or whatever, there was some type of death, then Scorpio is kind of like becoming more intimate with this new version of yourself or this new relationship, whether it be with yourself or with somebody else or with a job or whatever, and really like getting connected to that intimacy and understanding, like, is this serving me? Is this not? Do I connect with this? Is this for me? What else is Scorpio? Scorpio is a water sign, so they're very emotional, but they are kind of tricky because a lot of people will think they're like a fire sign because of their energy, but they're actually like, yeah, they're fiery energy, like, but they're actually a water sign, which means they're very emotional. So that's why we're getting into this intimacy, but it's like not from like a physical perspective. It's more from like an emotional perspective, a mental emotional connection. So like we're really diving into like our mental emotional connection and what it is that's kind of going on around us, and say there's like things that aren't serving you, then it's going to be very apparent and it's going to be really uncomfortable, and it's going to be like feeling like your world's falling apart because you have to be decisive and you have to make decisions and you have to let go of things and you have to kind of break down and break it all apart so that you can rebuild it and rise above into a new like level of consciousness, right? And so that's kind of like Scorpio energy there in a nutshell. And so this is kind of like this darker energy that we're kind of in right now. And as I'm doing this like spiral down energy with my hand, it's like realizing that it kind of does have this depression energy to it, but it's not to bring us into our depression. It's to actually release us from the shackles of what's kind of been holding us back, right? And so instead of getting caught up in that downward spiral, it's like, no, I'm going to notice myself. I'm going to raise my awareness. I'm actually going to use this energy to propel myself forward, to perpetuate me forward, and to actually catalyze my growth and catalyze where it is in my life that I'm needing to put the attention, right? So really like our shadow self is going to be surfacing, and it's really going to be pretty like easy to see, to be honest, because like we're kind of over a lot of stuff, and like we're clearing up a lot of karmic patterns, a lot of lifetimes of pain and suffering are kind of being, there's a heart reclaiming energy right now. And so when we can reclaim our heart, and when we can, you know, process whatever it is that's impure within us, and that's what the heart center is the purification center, right? So if we can purify what it is within us, then we are able to live from that pure space. And so the only thing that's kind of stopping us from living from that pure space is the impurities that are within our mind, our heart, our body, our life, right? And so I mean, it's never too late. You're never too far, like, out of balance or have a disease, right? You're never too far from coming back to health, because the body is made to heal. Like, our physical vessel is so powerful, and if only we fed it what it needed and gave it what it needed and provided for its needs. Scorpio is all about your needs being met too, right? Not just sexually, but, you know, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Who are you, you know, surrounding yourself with? All these things, right? Like, are you like going to hang out with people because you actually need to be giving yourself that love, or are you really going out because you enjoy to do it, right? Like, is it an escape mechanism? Is it a procrastination? Is it a self-sabotage? Or is it a genuine need and want, which is also meaning that your responsibilities are taken care of too, right? So that means if your responsibilities aren't taken care of and you're going to do things that are more leisurely, then you need to make sure that your responsibilities are taken care of, so that when you are relaxing and enjoying your free time, it's actually like free time, right? So that's kind of the stuff that's going to be bubbling up this week and for the next month, okay? Because we just entered Scorpio season 2 days ago, okay? And then remember, we just had that full moon in Aries. So the full moon in Aries was like really, really like packing us with a punch, with clarity and with action. Like I found myself like working out, like while I'm on the phone with my friend, like I have my phone there and I'm like doing a little freaking workout, because it's like, I know what I need and I know what my body needs, but I don't always like have the motivation or have that, you know, like discipline to do it. And so it's like realizing now that like that Aries full moon really activated my body into wanting that again, into wanting to be healthy, into wanting to eat good foods, and into like wanting to make sure I have enough sleep and enough water and I'm exercising, because like I love it. Like I love exercising. I love being healthy. Like that's my Virgo sign. Like I'm, what is it, or ascendant in Virgo. My Virgo is rising, and my Aries, or my moon is Aries, and then my sun is Pisces. So it's a pretty cool actually little connection that I got going on when I've gone a little bit deeper. But that Virgo is what keeps me organized, because my Pisces is a mess, okay? Like such a mess, so emotional, all over the place. My Virgo grounds me, organizes me, and then my Aries gives me like that like fool energy, like that like naive and like kind of always looking for adventure, always fun, like always have like all these great ideas and being creative and wanting to like explore. And so like those three all together, like they keep me really balanced. But I mean, when you're out of balance, you're just out of balance, right? So bringing us back into balance. Okay, wow, I haven't even really read much of this. So, but I think it'll be pretty fast, because honestly, like it's a lot of repetitive stuff, but like in different ways, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of saying similar things, but they're different too, okay? So the first thing I have here are fears, obsessions, and compulsions. So this is stuff that's going to be really clear, which is why you might be having bad dreams. You might be having things from your subconscious coming up. So like do a little bit of dream research. If you don't know, like if you have a dream about a volcano erupting and you're at the volcano, like I don't know why that just came through, but like look into that. Like what does a volcano represent? What does a volcano erupting represent? Why did I have a dream with a volcano in it? Why was I, you know, like you can find these answers, but you have to ask the questions, right? Like you have to be curious, you have to invite that in that information in, right? And so like fears, obsessions, and compulsions are all going to be kind of obvious to you, like what it is, like habits that aren't really serving you, like maybe relationships, like maybe you're obsessed with somebody and you need to like relax and chill and let it go and realize like, oh, this actually isn't serving me and I need to move on, nor is it serving them, I need to move on. It was 2 2 3 3 and then 2 2 3 4. So you know, like activating those like master numbers of 22 33, really anchoring in the ascended masters, the duality, the polarity, all the different understandings that you have, and then moving forward with it, which was the 2 2 3 4, representing that forward movement, right, on the physical plane, because a 1 2 3 4 represents the linear, and the 1 2 3 5 represents a quantum, right? And so I just want you guys to understand, like in the linear way, right? Like so in the physical reality, like in time and space. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. Okay, so the other thing I have is like our subconscious or our unconscious is becoming conscious. Right? Again, I'm saying the same thing, but in a different way. So like, we're just becoming aware of what it is that we've been carrying for a long time that we didn't know we were carrying, basically. Okay. And this includes our positive traits, guys. Like this includes, like, that's why I'm talking about working out and I'm talking about connecting to eating properly and all these things, right? It's like, just because like our shadow's being revealed, like that's not a bad thing. And that's the whole point of like alchemizing our shadow into our light, or turning lead into gold, right? Or like this whole idea of alchemy, and being the magician, or being the you know, the alchemizer, the alchemizer. And being able to take that negative and turn it into a positive, whether that be emotionally or mentally or any situationally. So being able to have that awareness. And then the next thing is like seeing and understanding ulterior motives in self and in others. So again, that subconscious part of ourselves is like able to realize like, oh wow, like I've never noticed that I did that, and now I'm noticing that I do that. And it's not about like being shameful or guilty or anything like that, or judging. It's just like realizing, oh, I do that and I don't want to do that anymore. Like I'm hearing like something as simple as you drink cow's milk, okay? Or you eat beef, which is like super normal, super common. Well, maybe like those aren't actually serving you, and you're getting the message that you can't eat them, but you don't know what to eat. So it's like Well, maybe this is me answering your question, which is that don't have like dairy, but have maybe like a nut milk or something. Like I have almond milk. Some people have like oat milk, cashew milk. There's many different, or just goat milk. There's different animals that you can try, but like try different milks out, right? Like you're not going to be able to have a different type of milk if you're not trying it and you're not letting go of the cow's milk, right? And then, yeah, okay, that's good. That was good. That was good enough. So what are your motives, right? So your motives in self and in others, right? So what is it kind of that's like pulling you to do things? Like are you making decisions from the part of yourself that's wounded? Meaning kind of like living from a place of fear? Or are you able to access that part of yourself that is able to be courageous and that can live from that place of love and make decisions based on love and not limiting themselves through fear of finances or getting hurt or whatever it is, right? Whatever your shadow is. Okay, and then obviously being able to see other people's motives and being able to understand your relationship dynamics and why people came into your life and why they left and why some stayed and why some didn't and how the whole shebang unrolls. And when you can look back and see all the breadcrumbs and understand like your own life, like you're not going to understand if you don't put the energy into trying to understand yourself, right? And so like that's going to become really apparent, but like being able to see other people's motives as well, right? Okay, so the shadow self is looking for love, so be that love for yourself, right? So whatever it is that you're lacking or that you're looking for outside of yourself, kind of bring that energy back in. So say like, oh, I was going to cook some dinner for my parents today and then I was going to bring it over and I really wanted to like make them feel good and I really wanted to give them a dinner. But say like all week you've eaten out and like the truth of it is like you just need to make yourself that dinner. Like you need to make sure that you're eating dinner from home that day and that you're focusing on that, right? And so you're trying to, you know, like fill that void and give it to somebody else, but really you need to make yourself that dinner. Like I hope that makes sense. It can be in any example, right? And especially with our kids, this is a really big one. Like making sure they're fed and they're full and they're washed and they're doing their homework and all this stuff, yet you're not doing that for yourself. You're just too busy making sure they're all good, but you have to fuel your own body, right? So noticing things you didn't notice before, wanting better for yourself for once in your life, self-care. So I'm actually just going to read this blurb. It's perfect. So I just kind of did like hit a few notes here about self-care. So like what it can kind of look like, right? So like outgrowing our unhealthy relationships, saying no when you want to say no, meaning like not people pleasing, not saying yes when you really don't want to do something, right? Preserving your energy. So really like working smart, not hard, really being aware of like where your emotions get drained, what it is you're thinking about and how it makes you feel and kind of pulling your energy back from that. Prioritizing your peace, having strong personal boundaries, taking care of your own needs and not relying on others to fill your cup, becoming honest and transparent with yourself and others, okay? And that's like that veil being thin, right? So like when that veil is thin, then we're able to access that subconscious, right? Like that thing that feels so deep, it's actually just like right there, right? And so when we can access these different parts of ourselves, it allows for us to have realizations and to grow, right? And to realize our own limitations and break through them, right? Like nothing wrong with having a limitation, but are you gonna let it limit you over and over and over again? Or are you going to say, actually, that's a limitation of mine and I'd really like to expand beyond that level of consciousness, right? Or that experience or whatever it is. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, awesome. And then so that's all I really have for the Scorpio season energy. Like I was just kind of repeating myself a lot, but also giving you guys different ways to kind of understand the same thing, if that makes sense. Okay, so then I have pathetic fallacy. Okay, guys, so one thing I remember from my high school years was my English class, and we learned about pathetic fallacy. And I remember, you know, the definition I wrote on my test to this day because this is how I remembered it. And it is simply when weather mirrors man's emotions, okay? And so Like I already explained at the beginning, like on a rainy day, if you're feeling sad and gloomy and wanting to stay inside, like that's your internal environment matching the external environment. So like pathetic fallacy to me is really similar to the law of correspondence and the 7 hermetic principles, which is like as within, so without, as above, so below. And so what that means is that whatever it is that's going on within you is also going on outside of you, right? And that's the stuff that your conscious awareness, that your consciousness finds in the universe, right? So say like someone says, man, I never see any yellow cars. And you're like, yeah, me neither. I never thought of that. And then for the next week, you can't stop seeing yellow cars. Okay, give it a little test, see if that works, or just make up your own example, but that's kind of how it works, right? And so you'll be like, oh wow, like I haven't, you know, and you'll start seeing them, and then you're like, whoa, what the fuck, that was crazy. It happened to me when I actually got my car, because I never noticed the car. Why would I notice the car? Now it's in my field, my reality, and I'm noticing the car, right? And so like that's the same with your emotions, it's the same with your thoughts, it's the same with everything. Like Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, they talk about our thoughts and our biology of belief and the power of meditation and the power of our mind and so much. And so like being able to realize like we have 99% of the same thoughts every day, every single day. You're thinking the same fucking thing. And that gets annoying and that gets exhausting. So use that conscious part of your mind to shut up that subconscious filter, to like not shut it up, just to like stop it from being so loud and like because you don't hear any of it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to slow down this and I'm going to listen. And then as you listen, you can hear things that need to come up versus just continually being in that energy, right? So, okay, so yeah, so just basically, I just want you to bring in awareness to this of like notice how the weather mirrors your emotions and work with these daily energetics, right? And so if you're, if you wake up and you're like, oh, it's raining, I'm going to be pissed because it's raining all day. And then you have a shitty day, like you kind of created that. And so like realizing like how powerful you are in the way that you have, emotional fulfillment throughout your day based on the simple habits and tasks that you choose to execute on a daily basis, right? It becomes unconscious after a long time. And now your conscious awareness kind of wants to be a key player in it all again. And it wants to say, hey, no, don't do that today. Come over here and do this, right? Like, come over here and try this out now. I want to try something new. I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? I want new, I want fun, I want adventure, okay? But in order for us to access that part of ourselves, those parts of ourselves again, we have to be able to clear out the shit, right? We have to be able to purge what isn't serving us anymore, because if we don't, we'll just keep attracting the same kind of trauma connections, trauma bonds that we always have attracted. It's just in a different person, in different ways, on different levels, right? Yeah, look at this. All right. So yeah, no more trauma bonding. Like that's done. No more. You're really becoming aware of it. I mean, of course, I'm saying it like no more, but like it's just having that awareness of it, and so that when you come into situations and you see the red flags and you go, nope, that's not serving me, gotta go. Okay, so basically, yeah, bring this awareness to like how the weather makes you feel, and like just connect it to your feelings and realize, oh wow, this is how I feel on a rainy day. Or maybe you're like, oh, this is how I would normally feel on a rainy day, but I'm actually feeling pretty good today, right? And just kind of bring awareness to that, especially with the seasons changing and winter coming, right? And so every day we're going to be in that bleak, cloudy, sunless day, cold, freezing, windy, snowy, rainy, wet, all of that. It's really good to have your internal sun on, right? Don't you think? Your happiness, your joy, all of that. And that's not to say you're not going to go through the dark side, but it's like to give yourself the understanding that that's just a part of the cycle that you're in. It was 34 on the time. Okay, guys, so I'm going to try to get through this quick and then pull some cards because I still kind of have a little bit. Okay, so we have intuition and body connection is strengthening. Okay, so our intuition, our soul, our feelings, our emotions, and our body, our physicality, our sensations are kind of coming online together. Okay, and that's why our body, like, that's why I'm working out without even thinking about it. I just set it up in my room, and now I just do it when I feel like it, instead of like, oh, I have to work out this time this day. It's like when I feel like doing 10 push-ups or this or that or some handstands or whatever I want to do, I just do it, and then it's done, and then I go on to the next thing and I forget I even did it, and it becomes just like something I really enjoy, right? So like, that's what I mean by like that connection's kind of coming online, because you're going to be doing different things naturally. Your body is going to be gravitating towards like these healthy alternatives, and your mind and all of it, right? Because we're being supported with this energy, and like there's a lot of purging, clearing going on right now, and we're really supported. Had a ash in there, and we're really supported in this transition. Oh, see, transition, that's a key word for Scorpio, right? Because transition, life and death, right? Okay, and then trust the doubt. Okay, so this is like a whole new spin I want you to bring in when you're like kind of working on yourself and understanding yourself more. It is guiding you. Like, that doubt is guiding you when you're like, oh no, like that's a red flag, right? Like, that's what we would consider a red flag, is when you're doubting something and then you trust that doubt. It's like, nope, they're not for you. Trust that doubt, move on. Or no, they're not for you, not trust that doubt. No, they're not for you, not trust that doubt. No, maybe they are, I don't know, whatever, right? And like, that doubt is your intuition, okay? And you think it's like, oh, it's my wound, or it's this, or it's that. It may be, but that's why it's, you know, you're learning how to strengthen your connection to your body, so that like, you know when something feels good and you know when something doesn't. And sometimes it takes some time to like come online to your sensations, but it's a journey, it's a process. But the more that you trust your gut, the more that you trust your intuition, the more you trust your body and your body's response, right? So trust the doubt, it is also guiding you. Okay, navigating our emotional shadow, cultivating a space for you to understand and see yourself authentically and true. Okay, so this is so important, guys. Like, you need a space within and without. Okay, so you need a space in your home, and you need a space inside of yourself, so that you can retreat to that place, that peaceful place. Pratyahara is what they say in yoga, which is withdrawal of the senses. And it's all about going within and meditating and finding that sanctuary within, which I never had access to that until I worked really, really hard, because my inner critic was just fucking mean as fuck, and I was mean as fuck to myself. And I used to say to myself, oh my God, if I were my own friend, I wouldn't want to be my friend. Even though I wasn't like that to my friends, it was how I was to myself. And I had to realize, like, whoa, that's not cool. So then I had to start learning how to speak kinder to myself and come aware of like that negative self-talk, right? And so navigating our emotional shadow, this is going to allow for us, and cultivating the space within us and outside of us, this is going to allow for us to feel comfortable, to get vulnerable, to realize what it is that is in our field that really isn't serving us anymore. Okay, so witnessing our wounded feminine, guys. Acknowledging, accepting, and loving, understanding, and being seen. So when I talk about the wounded feminine, I have like a little list here. I'm just going to read it out. And this is kind of the energy when I talk about our going through our emotions and going through like healing these aspects of ourselves. Like these are the emotions that may come up that you don't want, that you want to suppress, and that you don't know how to express in a healthy way. Okay, so I have rage, disappointment, guilt, shame, sadness, unworthiness, jealousy, envy, superiority, inferiority, taking up space, meaning like you don't know how to take up space because you're either too much or you're not enough, being too quiet or too loud, being a sexual being but not being allowed to express your sexuality, right? It's like, yeah, I'm the feminine and I'm a sexual being, yet don't touch yourself, don't do that, no, only allow a man to do that and please you, because if you touch yourself, that's fucking disgusting and you're gross. And if you sleep with too many men, then you're a freaking slut and you're a whore and you don't even deserve to do that. So how dare you overexpress your sexuality here? No, you be quiet and you sit still and you close your mouth and you close your legs, because if you don't, you're a little slut. But then if you do that, that, you're also kind of a prude, right? It's like you're kind of like, ew, you're like, ew, you're like so reserved, and like you actually respect yourself, and like, how dare that? It's like, okay, so how am I just supposed to fucking function as a human being with all of these unrealistic like projections onto us all the time, right? So this is the stuff, like, and you'll carry your own wound, right? You carry your wound, I carry my wound, everyone carries their wound. And so whatever that is for you that you don't want to look at, that is what needs to be looked at, right? And come at it. This is your wounded feminine, right? Your wounded emotions. So you come at it by acknowledging it, accepting it, and loving it, understanding it, and seeing it, right? Because if you don't see it, if you don't understand it, if you keep suppressing it, it's just going to stay in that ball of energy in you that has power and control over you, right? Okay, deep emotional purge for self and the collective. So we're deep diving into the mysteries of life, death, intimacy, and human psychology. So our sun, which Scorpio's in sun right now, okay? Our sun is shining its light on the darkest parts of our psyche and illuminating something we normally don't see or don't want to see, okay? Which is, I don't need to explain it, I already did. So then reclaiming our power and transforming into our authentic whole self, okay? So in order for us to reclaim our power and reclaim like our whole self, every part of ourselves, we have to include the shadow, because the shadow is also who we are. And if we are going to suppress the shadow, then we can't be whole, right? So some may think that some like light workers are all about love and light, but the reality of it is that we're actually shadow workers technically, because we are working for the light. But in order to access the light, you have to break through the shadow, the limitation, right? And so being able to work through that shadow, to integrate it, to acknowledge that that is part of us, that the rage, that the anger, that the jealousy, the resentment, all of these lower emotions are actually our guidance system as well. Because if we want to suppress them, then we end up in a society just like the one that we're in, where we aren't allowed to feel those feelings, or there's shame, or there's guilt, or there's fear around the fact that you even have these emotions, okay? And so we're reclaiming that back, and we're reclaiming our emotions, we're reclaiming our femininity, and we're transforming into our authentic whole self through really acknowledging and honoring our shadow self, okay? And then relationship focus, so friends, family, work, and then like intimate relationships. So only emotional intimacy will be fulfilling from here on out, guys. Like your connections are changing, they're shifting, they're evolving with your newfound self, with your newfound sense of self, okay? So as you get to know yourself more and deeper and more intimately, you're going to realize like what it is that you are really looking for emotionally and physically and mentally, all of it, right? But emotionally is really the main thing, because emotions is really what kind of paints our lens of reality, right? If you're in a good mood and colors look brighter, everything's great. If you're in a shitty mood, you hate life and everything sucks and it's gray and dark and not magical, right? And so it's like, as you're realizing like your true authentic self, like through healing and letting go of these parts of yourself that aren't really who you are, you're going to be able to reclaim your power and transform into who you really are meant to be. Okay, feeling safe and in control may be influencing your decisions paired with fear, causing you to obsess over things and people, preventing you from moving forward. So it is time to let go of all the people, places, things, thoughts, actions that are pulling you down from your authentic self, from living at that higher frequency. So yeah, there's some things that we need to stick to and some things we need to commit to, but then there's also just as many things that we need to let go of to rebalance and to reframe where it is that we're going, right? And so in order for us, because what happens is you make one little decision based on a part of yourself you don't want to look at, and then you keep making decisions that much off of your authentic self, and then what happens is that you're so far from your authentic self, you don't know who you are anymore, and you don't know how to get there, you don't know how to get back, you've lost yourself, and you need help. And so you're the one that has to help yourself, right? You're the only one that has true power in your life, right? Like I can sit here and you can listen to me every week and you can, think you're doing the work, but until you actually do the work, that's when you see the change, right? So it's funny how the ego likes to play some tricks on us with our, with what it is we think we're doing versus what it is we're actually doing. And I mean, I'm guilty of that, because it's like, you know, I get all excited about something and then I get my hit of dopamine and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is my great idea. And then I don't actually manifest it into the physical fully, right? I don't ground it in fully. And so I'm learning how to find that balance between like having the idea and actually like committing myself to it long enough to ground it into reality. Okay guys, so first deck here we're going with is the Lightworker Oracle. So let's see what needs to come through. These are like more major arcana cards. They're not actually tarot cards, but they're more like the major events in our lives, like what it is kind of like that that we're going through, big like tower moment type energy. Okay, so let me just ask for the cards that need to come through today for the week of October 25th or the timeless for whoever finds this. All right. Okay, these two wants to come through. The fifth ray of intellectual knowledge and divine grace, the law of efficiency. Perfect. Okay, so this is really purifying our mind, guys. So the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. This is like knowing the power of knowledge. Knowledge is power, and reclaiming our power, reclaiming our knowledge, realizing like, look at how crotchety these energies are around this beautiful ray of light. And that is you. You are that ray of light in like the sea of darkness, right? And so you're being asked this week to really trust your knowledge and know, like, and I guess really it's about filtering your knowledge. What is really true and what is not. And that's not always easy because you have to tap into your own internal guidance system to know that. And that's why the divine grace and the law of efficiency is coming through, because that is like, you couldn't research for your entire lifetime and get all the right answers, okay? Because you're limited in your human perspective. And that's why you're being asked to go with this divine grace and law of efficiency with your mind, with filtering out all the bullshit of your mind. It's like, you don't know what's true. Filter out everything that you know is not true, okay? Get everything out that you know isn't true and create space so that in that empty space, you can hear what is true. That's what they want you to know. Oh my God, that is cool. Give me another one just because I love them. And the third ray of creative intelligence. Okay, and it was reversed, guys. So this is going to be a block, right? And so that is it. Like, if you are feeling limited, you just need to be creative. If you feel like you've hit a block or you've hit a wall in your life, you're just lacking creativity. You're just lacking the idea, the mental capacity to perceive something beyond your limitation, your limiting experience. And that's really how successful people are successful. As I look at the bottom of the deck, and we have divine talents, right? Because they are trusting their path and their knowing and who they are. And then when you do that, you succeed, because the universe like loves that. The universe wants you to be on your path, right? With your divine talents. And then, yeah, like when you are feeling limited, you are going to connect to your divine intelligence, your third ray of creativity, which is your power center, actually, the third chakra here. Being able to basically rise above that limiting belief, that limitation that you have kind of put on yourself. Okay, or that's a soul lesson. It couldn't just be like, oh, you put it on yourself. No, it's just like, that is what you have agreed to in this lifetime, right? Beautiful. So I have the secret language of light. We'll see what wants to come through here. I don't really use this deck that often. So it says on it, transmissions from your soul. So what's your soul want to say? What does your soul want to tell you for this week or for this now moment? What is it that wants to be heard? That will tie beautifully in and match. Okay, these. Okay, divine feminine, an inward revolution. Guys, I can't make this shit up. Inward revolution, going within to heal the divine feminine. Going within to heal the divine feminine. And these cards are literally like the same. And it's the Christ consciousness. Oh my God, that's why they came up like this, guys. Your higher self is like, tell them about Christ consciousness, fifth dimensional energy. Okay, guys, so you know when I said taking a negative and turning it into a positive, that is what the cross represents, right? Being able to, if there's like this symbol in Egyptian history. It's called an ankh, and it's basically like the cross, but it has like a connection from the left side to the right side, and it actually creates like this it's a current, right, connecting the masculine and the feminine, which is all representing sexual energy. And so you have the phallic, and then you have the womb space, and so that is literally, it's called an ankh anyway. And so this is basically like showing me, like reminding me to say, oh yeah, remind them of like the freaking amazing energy that's being downloaded on the template of the Christ conscious energy, like of this, like what Jesus represented, and the messages, the true messages that he was trying to get out. Like he wasn't saying he was better than anyone. He wasn't saying I am the only God ever. No, like, I mean, that was the Roman Catholics that threw the baby out with the bathwater and wanted to manipulate and control people just to say, hey, no, like, hey, they took Magdalene out of the picture. They took the women out. They said, no, this is a man's world, not allowed. Well, we're reclaiming the feminine, guys. We're reclaiming our emotions. We're reclaiming spirit. We're reclaiming the cycles. We're reclaiming all of these beautiful aspects of what it is to be human, our nurturing, our caring, our love, okay? That's what's getting activated. And so that's why you're really saying go within and heal the wounds. And that's how you'll access joy. And now it's that same, like, do these all have, not all of them, no. Okay, I'll just to show you guys, like, they don't all have like that cross. Like, yeah, like a lot of them do, like I'm seeing, but like that's not a cross per se. That's a cross kind of. Like that's not really like a cross per se. That's not really a cross, right? Like, but I pulled joy, another cross, right? And so there was quite a few. But anyway, so that's how you access your joy. And joy is feminine energy as well, right? It is life force. It's ever flowing, unlimited energy. Okay, guys. And then the hidden worlds. Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. Let's see, what do we have today? Coming out of Oracle of the Hidden World. I'm just going to clear this deck. Call in the energy. The Hidden Worlds. What are we gaining access to this week, guys? As the veil's thinning. The veils are thinning. We are entering our shadow self. The mirror, other lives, past lives, dimensional lives. Yeah. And as I was saying that, I'm getting a really itchy throat. And so this is going to activate us. And I got all the blue too. This is, oh, and then I have the sugar light. I don't know how to say it, but it actually, it connects you to your inner child too, which there's that joy card down there too, right? So mirror, guys, mirror. This is exactly what I was saying about the weather and about our external reality, the people in it. What are people showing you about you? You wouldn't have these people in your life if they did not match you on an energetic frequency. So they could be showing up to show you the beautiful things about yourself, but they can also be showing up to show you the shadow side of yourself, okay? So like, notice how people are showing up in your life. This is going to allow for you to access the other worlds, the hidden worlds, your new worlds, where you won't tolerate bullshit anymore, and that you love yourself, and that you trust, and you live in a magical fairyland where you are the princess, you know? And it's all about emotions. And I'm not saying you're physically, externally going to have a castle and everything. It's about being that castle. This body is the castle. You are the castle. And the emotions is everything that lives inside of you. Okay, the leap, ecstasy, bliss, and belief. There you go, confirmation. And there's that magical fairy energy coming through. So we're clearing our past lives. We're taking the leap. We're accessing our bliss body, our ecstasy. And it's through clearing and purging our beliefs, right? And then insight, magical tools, writing, and star crafting. Yeah. So this is how you can access your higher self, is through automatic writing. So when you just need to let things out and journal and just share the information, then you're being asked like to go and kind of like honestly write yourself your deepest, darkest desires right now, and what it is that you're going through. And the crystal path, mineral spirits and crystal beings are also here guiding us on our path. And then it jumped into the singing bowl over here. So maybe it's like saying, when you're energetically not okay, do a meditation, connect to this higher energy, put on some background music of some, 369 solfeggio frequencies, I don't know, like that just came through. But like, you know, put something on off of YouTube, or play a singing bowl if you have a singing bowl, and maybe I'll just tap into that clearing energy right now. So the crystal path, mineral spirits, and crystal beings, so they're here with you guys, and so like we're being supported right now, and we're being asked to like look in the mirror, to really reflect on things, and to decide what path it's going to be that we're going to go, and that you can take that leap of faith. Messages, channels, and information, number 11, and that's the bottom of the deck here. And so that is really going to, 11 is that master number, and it kind of represents the doors opening, right? The handles of the doors. I've gone through it before, but anyway, 11 is a master number, so when it represents like spirituality and being like high priestess, intuition, the moon, spirit, right? So you're guided and you're receiving messages this week too, like loud and clear. And so that's why I'm saying over and over to like notice like what it is that's going on in your field, so that you can let it go, so that you can notice it, acknowledge it, love it, release it. 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 I'm only saying it over and over because it's what you need to do, right? And that divine masculine energy is here to guide you, here to help you through this path, right? I just pull in here from the activations, the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. Yeah, so you're really diving in, you're going in, you're digging, you're understanding, you're trusting, you're listening to your intelligence, you're going within, you're listening to your feminine, you're opening your third eye chakra, you're connecting to your higher self, your consciousness, not just your consciousness, but the earth's consciousness, being able to access the intelligence of Mother Gaia, like realizing how supported you truly are, understanding that the divine feminine and the nurturing energy is ever dynamic, and it's constantly moving and in motion. That is the feminine energy, right? The feminine energy is dynamic, right? So we have this third eye, as I said, third eye chakra opening. This is spiritual understanding. This is that same here as the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge, right? Like these go hand in hand. And then the divine feminine and dynamic is just kind of confirmation to remind you guys that like nurturing energy, the feminine energy, the life force energy is constantly moving. And so it will never be, that's why the emotions and anchoring in these deeper emotional understandings is what's really going to help you, because it is ever evolving. And like, it's not like a masculine physical energy where it's solid, where this human body is very clearly physical. No, like this is like a more subtle thing that you're tapping into here, and the earth is going to teach you. Okay, so the earth has her own timeline, her own consciousness, her own frequency, her own path, her own evolutionary path, right? And so we're being able to tap into her consciousness, to Mother Gaia's consciousness, Pachamama here, and being able to honor her and love her. And so environmental awareness is going to be really, really big too, because that is the feminine, okay? Being able to nurture ourselves through taking care of our external world and our internal world, so that we can actually live a healthy, sustainable life, right, guys? And then soul time, the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibilities of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. Exactly. So being able to see beyond the limitation of time, of the way that we have been programmed to perceive time. We're coming into this more quantum perspective. The frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. Follow your joy and follow your bliss. And there it is again. Boom. So perfect. So perfect, guys. And the crown. So the crown is going to connect us to our higher self, to source. All of the above. Okay, guys. That was so good. I want to keep going. Authority. Oh, that's a big one too. Okay, I'm not going to go into it though. But real quick, authority. What was your perspective of authority as a child? Okay, for me, I respected authority. Like I was a good girl. I understood. But as I got older, I started kind of breaking out of that because I realized, like, you bitches are locking me up for no fucking reason. Like, oh my God, are you kidding? You don't even know what you're talking about. Meaning teachers and guides and cops and, you know, all these people that were programmed to put on a pedestal and think they're better than, like, doctors, nurses. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, they actually don't know anything either. Like, I'm on this path to understand life, and I'm like, nobody understands. And that was why I kind of lost kind of like a connection to any authority. And that's when I started kind of realizing the breakdown of our societal structure and how, like, really, like, we're not supported in it at all, and that the higher powers that are running it have zero good interest in keeping us healthy and alive and well. And so my whole life I've loved wellness, I've loved health, I've loved alternative healing, and so my ego kind of had to learn and shift and accept the reality that we're in. And so it's just really interesting because I'm now reconnecting to my inner child and actually how much I connected with my teachers growing up, or my coaches from sports, or I had a lot of healthy role models that I had no idea I even had. And that's not authority, right? And that was because I trusted them. They were there to teach me. My pure innocence just was curious and wanted to learn, and they say they have the answer, so I'm here to learn, right? And so really, like, look at, and then some people, like, have a really big problem with cops. Some people have, like, you know, problem with teachers, a problem with being a student, a problem with whatever, right? So really take note of authority in your life. It could be you rebelling, your inner child just wanting to fucking rebel and saying, no, you tell me to do that, I'm gonna do that. But really, like, is that serving you? You know, like, is it really what you should be doing, or is that just your inner child being rebellious of authority, which is actually bringing up this feminine energy, and that this is why she's been suppressed for all of humanity's lifetime, basically, is because she questions authority. The authority that has been in control, that has been in power for eons, is now losing its authority because it is not of the light, and humans are ready to ascend beyond the darkness and into their light and into a higher version. So that is really what this energy is asking, right? Like, how is your inner feminine rebelling? Because the inner child and the feminine are very similar energies, but also very different energies. But they can kind of bring up that rebellious self within, right? So have that awareness this week. Kind of notice, like, where it is you're kind of being a shit, you know, where it is you're rebelling. Miracle and heart chakra. So there's this really, 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 really powerful heart chakra healing going on right now. So just keep remembering to pull your energy in, to reclaim your sovereignty, to reclaim your free will, your choice of your mind, of your thoughts, of your heart, of your communication, of your everything, right? And so we're reclaiming these aspects back, and we're being our own authority, okay? And that's really what I'm all about here, is to teach you guys how to take your power back and how to live a life that is in full alignment with who you truly are, who you authentically are, who you genuinely are, so that you can be emotionally fulfilled in all of the ways, okay, guys? So that was an incredible read. And of course, communication. I had to look one more time, okay? Communication. Okay, guys, I hope that you guys have an amazing week. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say. I have my weekly giveaway up to Christmas, so I actually will link that below, so that if you want to join that giveaway on Facebook, you can. I'm actually giving away a free 45-minute reading this week, so that'll be fun. No products, just a service being given. So yeah, I'll link that below. You check it out. And yeah, comment, again, like, subscribe, do all that jazz. And thanks for being here. I hope that this brought you closer and closer and closer to your truest, most authentic self. I am Aurora from Translucent Truth Yoga. Have the best week. Bye.